Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up over the next hour, high-octane campaigning for the second phase of India's parliamentary elections ends Friday to witness polling in 88 seats across 12 states and union territories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, pushes for investing in robust infrastructure for a better tomorrow. US President Joe Biden signs a bill into law to provide aid to Ukraine, and Israel also gives his assent to another bill to potentially ban Chinese short video app TikTok over security concerns. And British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak as well as German Chancellor Olaf Scholz agree to closer defence cooperation in Berlin, unveil plans to jointly develop remote-controlled 155mm wheeled artillery system. Well, first up, let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election that's unfolding in India. Well, the dance of democracy in the world's largest election is going strong. Campaigning for the second phase of polling in a total of 7 phases ended on Wednesday. Polling will be held for 88 parliamentary seats on Friday, but canvassing by top leaders is on nationwide for the subsequent phases, being led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the ruling coalition and former Congress President Rahul Gandhi for the opposition.
Campaigning for the second phase of Indian parliamentary elections ended on Wednesday. During the second phase of election, which is scheduled to be held on April 26th in 88 constituencies spread across 13 states and union territories. Meanwhile, campaigning is in full swing for the third phase to be held on May 7th. India's Prime Minister and senior BJP leader held back-to-back rallies. While addressing a rally in Sagar in the central state of Madhya Pradesh, he hit out at the Congress for its wrong policies.
कांग्रेस ने धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण दे दिया है और इसके लिए उन्होंने पिछले दरवाजे से गैर कानूनी तरीके से एक चालाकी की है। ओबीसी समाज की आंख में धूल झोंकने का गुनाहित कृत्य किया है।
Prime Minister Modi also held a roadshow in the capital city of Bhopal in the western state of Madhya Pradesh. Indian Home Minister Amit Shah addressed a public rally in Amravati of Maharashtra. BJP National President JP Nadda campaigned in Madhubani and Kagaria in the northern state of Bihar. He slammed the opposition alliance for creating chaos in the state.
आज अमेरिका की अर्थव्यवस्था में मुसीबत है। आज यूरोप की अर्थव्यवस्था डगमगाई हुई है। आज यूक्रेन की लड़ाई के साथ साथ रशिया की भी अर्थव्यवस्था बिगड़ी हुई है। जापान की बिगड़ी हुई है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बिगड़ी हुई है। लेकिन मुझे आपको बताते हुए खुशी हो रही है कि भारत दुनिया में अकेला ब्राइट स्पॉट है तो वो भारत है।
While from the opposition camp, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi addressed a public rally in Solapur in the western state of Maharashtra. Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav campaigned in Kannauj constituency and promised to defeat BJP in the upcoming parliamentary elections.
इनके भाषणों पर हार का रुझान दिखाई दे रहा है। अगर हार न रहे होते तो ये भाषा होती, और जिन्हें 400 पार का नारा देना था वो आज क्या कह रहे हैं? जिन्होंने 400 पार का नारा दिया उनकी भाषा क्या है? तो इसका मतलब ये है कि कहीं ना कहीं भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर घबराहट है।
Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra addressed a public rally in Wayanad in the southern state of Kerala and sought vote for his brother Rahul, who is contesting from the constituency. Absarul Hassan's report for DD India.
And 8 parliamentary seats of the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh will also go to polls in the second phase on Friday. The 8 seats stretch from Gautam Budh Nagar, close to the national capital Delhi, to Amroha in western Uttar Pradesh.
Uttar Pradesh is the most crucial state in the Indian elections in terms of the parliamentary seats. The state with the largest population in India also has 80 constituencies, more than any other state. For most of the national political parties, Uttar Pradesh, also known as UP, is the hottest state. In the second phase of the general elections, 8 seats will be going for polls from UP. These seats include Amroha, Meerut, Bagpat, Ghaziabad, Gautam Budh Nagar, Bulandshahr, Aligarh and Mathura. Gautam Budh Nagar constituency is shaping up to be a three-way battle between the Bharatiya Janata Party, Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party. From Ghaziabad, BJP's Atul Garg, Dolly Sharma from Congress and Nandkishore Pundir from BSP are in the poll fray. Meanwhile, in Mathura constituency, a fierce triangular contest involving key political players is taking place, where the BJP has thrown its weight behind incumbent Member of Parliament Hema Malini, a well-known Bollywood personality, against Mukesh Dhangar from the Congress and the BSP candidate. Star candidates from other seats of Uttar Pradesh in the second phase involve Meerut, Arun Govil, Bharatiya Janata Party; Amroha, Kunwar Danish Ali, Congress Party; Bagpat, Rajkumar Sangwan, RLD; Aligarh, Satish Kumar Gautam, BJP. Polls in Uttar Pradesh are taking place in all 7 phases of the elections, with the outcome of each and every seat likely to impact the overall outcome of the great Indian elections. The constituencies of Uttar Pradesh that goes for polls for the second phase of general elections have seats not just from the urban constituencies and urban areas but from rural and semi-rural as well. And these constituencies have people not just from the state of Uttar Pradesh but from all across the country, making these seats extremely important for all the political parties to gauge a mood of the public in these elections and to get a glimpse of what the result is going to be like. From Noida, Uttar Pradesh, with camera person Naveen Kumar, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
Darjeeling, the beautiful West Bengal seat with hills and plains and tea gardens to boot, prepares to vote in the second phase of India's general elections on Friday as well. Now that the silent period has commenced, poll personnel are making their way to polling stations. International borders with Bangladesh, Bhutan and Nepal have been sealed and measures are being put in place to ensure free and fair elections. DD India's Mark Lin reports from Darjeeling.
Darjeeling, known for its finest teas, as this tea garden worker shows us, leaves that every tea connoisseur knows are the very best. Tea among the hills and the sunsets, with a slight nip in the air, draws tourists in large numbers to the hills of Darjeeling. The people of the hills are mostly Gorkha and have been seeking more autonomy in their administration. That continues to be one of the key underlying issues in this election. With the silence period having commenced, polling personnel bound for remote polling stations, Dadagaon, Ramam Forest and Samanden begin their journey to these booths, which are in part inaccessible by road. They check all their equipment before leaving.
So they will have to travel another 26 kilometers. Out of this 26 kilometers, 7 kilometers will be by foot. We are providing porters for them, and then any other accommodation that is provided for them is already there. And special facilities we are providing is we have arranged for location stay for them, including with SSGs and tagging has already been done.
Staff attached to all other 1,996 polling stations will begin setting up their polling booths on the 25th of April, a day before the election. Final preparations for dispatch of EVMs are being made in the strong room, every detail of equipment being registered and marked. Elsewhere, voters are beginning to reflect on the electoral exercise and their right to vote. As another toy train leaves on its iconic trip with happy tourists in tow, we asked a few voters about what's on their mind.
Election will come and go, but we'll see our nation is doing good. That's why we're going to vote who is doing such a good, because there's lots of political party who have taken participation in Lok Sabha election, but we're voting who are doing good in this country.
ये मेरा जैसा अपना हक है वोट डालने के लिए, है ना, ये तो डालना ही पड़ेगा, चाहे जिसको भी डालूं, ये तो मेरा अपना ही है।
हम लोग वोट तो डालना पड़ेगा क्योंकि हम लोग को हक है। अब 5 वर्ष में एक बार आएगा वोट डालने के लिए, अपना हक सुनना पड़ेगा, अपना अधिकार है वो तो दे देंगे।
At the core of this election is the issue of development. Development means different things for different people, but what it really means is that every voter wants a better future for themselves and their families. With cameraman Piyush Vardhan Verma, this is Mark Lin, DD India, Darjeeling.
Let's take you across to a couple of my colleagues who brought us those reports from different parts of India. Mark Lin joins us from Darjeeling in West Bengal. We also have Siddharth Bharda joining us from Thrissur in Kerala. Good evening to both of you. Mark, first to you. Now, there were concerns during the first phase about lower than expected turnout. Have any special measures been taken by election officials to bump up polling in the second phase? You got a good look at what they were doing.
Yes, indeed, Gautam. Actually, Darjeeling has always polled reasonably well. In the last election in 2019, there are 1.6 million voters registered for this election. And if I just look back, the top two voters, the top two candidates in the last election had polled more than 1.1 million votes themselves. So we are likely to see, a similar kind of high turnout in this election. Apart from that, what has happened is that on every street corner you have hoardings that have, not really quite hoardings, that, actually paintings and banners that are asking people to come out and vote and exercise their right. And everyone we've spoken to has said that, it is their right and it is important that they do vote. Apart from that, there has been a giant screen in the mall center, which is one of the areas where a lot of people gather, which has been showing videos of people casting their votes and urging people to come out and vote, talking about the beauty of an election as well as the advantages of voting and creating better development opportunities for people. Gautam.
All right, just stay with me. Siddharth, tell us about Kerala. How is it getting up for mostly a three-cornered fight with rising temperatures and humidity? The entire state with 20 seats going to polls in a single phase, which is on Friday.
Well, first of all, a very good evening to you, Gautam, from God's own country, Kerala. I am here in Thrissur, and Kerala is gearing up for the election in a very unique manner. Although the temperature is soaring, but the spirits are also high at the same time because people are eager to vote come April 26. And earlier in the day, when I was coming from Thiruvananthapuram to Thrissur, campaigning was going on in full swing. People were dancing to the tunes of music, and they were campaigning for their favorite political parties here. Now that the campaigning has been stopped because of Model Code of Conduct, no form of campaigning will be done. But the state will go to polls on April 26 with 20 Lok Sabha seats up for grabs here in the state. I'm in Thrissur. It's one of the most keenly watched constituencies, Gautam, because on the ballot is a former Chief Minister's son and a superstar, and also a minister who's having a very great rapport with local residents. So this is what is making this election here in the region very, very interesting. If I talk to you about the Congress, then K. Muralidharan is contesting from Congress, and then S. Gopi, Suresh Gopi, who's a veteran actor, has featured in over 250 films, is contesting from the BJP. Now, BJP's entry here is what making these elections very special in the region, because now the fight is triangular. It's a triangular contest and high-octane contest where, as far as the elections are concerned, between the BJP, Congress and the CPI. As far as the Congress candidate is concerned, he's the son of former Chief Minister K. Karunakaran. So he's well versed with how elections go and whatever happens, because he's already in the bandwagon. As far as the BJP's candidate is concerned, he's contesting for the second time, Gautam. And last time in 2019, when he contested from the BJP, the party witnessed a significant increase in numbers, and this time around BJP is relying on him and is expecting from him that he will open his account here. As far as the CPI candidate is concerned, VS Sunil Kumar, as apparently people call him here our Sunni, he is known to meet people and resolve their problems. He is having good connections with people here, and also as a former agriculture minister, he is credited with some of the initiatives, also known as some of the initiatives which were reviving the agricultural sector here in the region. So all in all, is a very interesting battle here in Thrissur, and it's a triangular contest between the BJP, Congress, and the CPI. Back to you, Gautam.
Let's hope that there's a brisk turnout in both places, Darjeeling as well as in Thrissur or all over Kerala. All the 20 seats, West Bengal, of course, polling in all 7 phases. So just small pockets going to polls at one go, mark in Darjeeling at the moment. Thanks a lot for joining us, both of you. Now, still to come up on DD India News Hour. UK and Germany announced plans to develop remote-controlled Howitzer 155mm wheeled artillery systems. Retail Summit 2024 gets underway in Dubai with its agenda built around 8 key themes. And Indonesia's President-elect Prabowo Subianto calls for unity among political elites.
Hype versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who's on a visit to Germany, went to the military barracks in Berlin where he met German and British soldiers. Earlier in the day, Sunak met German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. The two announced plans to develop remote-controlled Howitzer 155mm wheeled artillery systems and discussed collaboration on energy projects, including Germany energy investment. This is Sunak's first trip to Germany after he became Prime Minister in October 2022.
Our two countries, Germany and UK, make important contributions to Europe's defence and industrial base, and we want to further strengthen and expand this. We will therefore also set up a task force to create a structured and improved framework for bilateral security and defence cooperation.
Let me now take you across to DD India's Julia Chapman for more on this from London. Well, hello, Julia. What other details could you share with us about how the UK and Germany are moving closer together militarily as well as strategically?
Well, we've been hearing Prime Minister Rishi Sunak describing this as an inflection point, talking about how, in his perception, the world is at its most dangerous point since the end of the Cold War. And with that backdrop, the UK and Germany have announced today a widening of their defence cooperation. Specifically, they'll be developing together some remote-controlled howitzers that would be launched, fitted to the Boxer armoured vehicles. So something that the two countries will be working on developing together to strengthen their own defences amidst an ever-changing world with increasingly more threats. And of course, they were talking about this in the context of a war in Europe, Ukraine facing daily threats from Russia, a constant backdrop of missile attacks and a very long front line where Ukraine is being pushed back at the moment amidst flagging support from the West. But both leaders in Berlin today reiterated their commitment to Ukraine. We heard the UK stepping up its support for the country on Tuesday when Rishi Sunak was visiting Poland. Of course, President Biden announcing as well today that he has signed the foreign aid bill that will give Ukraine a very substantial boost to its war effort. But these two leaders in Berlin talking about the threats from countries like Russia and the need to continue increasing defense spending for their own defenses to ensure that they have all the capabilities they need if either country were to receive some sort of direct threat.
Okay, well, Russia's actions in Ukraine are clearly a motivation for this increased closeness, proximity that is developing between these two countries. But what can be made of the reference to China that had come up during Chancellor Scholz's address to the media alongside Prime Minister Sunak?
China is certainly another player here, and it comes this meeting in a week when both the UK and Germany have been hit by espionage scandals related to China. Just on Tuesday, we heard in Germany accusations that a parliamentary aide to a German member of the European Parliament has been accused of sharing information with China. And that's a day after some charges were issued against two people in the UK with similar allegations of links to China. Now, China has said that those are both false, that there is no grounds for these accusations, but it does really go to serve the fact that there are growing concerns about China's rise, about its activities around the world, and any threat that China might play militarily at some point in the future. During his address yesterday in Poland, we heard Prime Minister Rishi Sunak talking about what he called an axis of authoritarian state. He made direct reference to Russia, Iran, North Korea, and China as well. It's not a country he describes as a threat, but it's one that he says is an epoch-defining challenge for the UK, and one that Germany feels very similarly about, although both countries have historically had fairly deep economic cooperation that they are now de-risking in the language that many leaders use.
All right, well, let's see which way things go. At least one can ensure that and be assured that people are bolstering up their defense ties as well as their own defenses, because Rishi Sunak has promised to raise defense spending of the UK as well to 2.5% of GDP by 2030, as have other NATO nations. They're aspiring to do it as well. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Julia. Now, a two-day international conference on disaster resilient infrastructure began in New Delhi on Wednesday. The conference serves as a premier gathering of the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, which is an international body established by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
His background in diplomacy.
International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, ICDRI, opened on Wednesday at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The ICDRI is the flagship event of the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, an international organization launched by Prime Minister of India in 2019. Inaugurating the event virtually, Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted that damages to infrastructure system caused by disasters are reported in dollars, but the true impact is felt by people and communities.
We must invest in resilient infrastructure today for better tomorrow. Resilience needs to be factored into new infrastructure creation. Further, it also needs to be a part of post-disaster rebuilding.
Prime Minister also congratulated CDRI on its rapid growth since 2019 and its programs which are supporting the development of resilient infrastructure, including across 13 small island developing states. CDRI currently has 46 members. The theme of ICDRI 2024 is Investing Today for a More Resilient Tomorrow.
To achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, to reach net zero and strengthen resilience by 2050 amounts to $9.2 trillion US. If we do not design resilience into our project pipelines, it will be increasingly difficult to achieve the high levels of funding needed to close the infrastructure deficit, particularly in the global south.
The two-day event that brings together governments, the global infrastructure community, multilateral development banks, the private sector to support the development of disaster resilient infrastructure. Taposh Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
Retail Summit 2024, a leading global event focused on the future of retail, is underway in Dubai with its agenda built around 8 key themes. These themes aim to address critical challenges and opportunities faced by retailers worldwide. This year's summit delves into areas such as artificial intelligence, brick-and-mortar stores, data, digital transformation, macroeconomics, supply chain management, sustainability and ethics. Also, talent acquisition is one of the themes as well. The Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry is an industry partner of the summit. The two-day event focuses on understanding current consumer trends and how modern technologies can enhance consumer and customer experiences. The summit's goal is to generate impactful discussions and provide actionable insights to support the retail sector's growth.
We are basically showcasing our products which are made in India and 100% made in India. So we do a lot of backward integration, a lot of technology being used for the products that we manufacture back in India. And we thought that now that we already have our footprint in India and other countries as well, so we wanted to expand our horizons, and that is why we are here today at the Retail Summit in Dubai.
And going back to our top story on India's general elections, well, hours before the campaigning for the second phase came to close on Wednesday evening, political parties put in their full might to woo voters for one last time. The city of Bhagalpur in Bihar is also witnessing intense canvassing throughout the day, and it did so till about 5 p.m. Take a look at this report by our correspondent Dipen Model from the Lok Sabha constituency of Bhagalpur.
Set on the banks of the river Ganges, the city of Bhagalpur, known for its fine silk, is witnessing a two-corner fight this elections of 2024. The NDA Alliance's JDU candidate Ajay Mandal will face the India Alliance's Ajit Sharma. This seat of Bihar is also expected to witness a tough contest and is likely to go down to the wire. On the last day of campaigning on Wednesday, BJP National President JP Nadda campaigned here along with the JDU candidate Ajay Mandal amidst loud cheers from the people. While on the other hand, the Congress candidate Ajit Sharma held a roadshow in the city of Bhagalpur along with his daughter Neha Sharma, a renowned Bollywood actor. Bhagalpur, which has a large number of youths in its voter list owing to the colleges here, say that they would like to vote for a leader who is strong.
First of all, since it's a Lok Sabha election, I'm surely going to vote for somebody who is going to take our country to a better place.
First-time voters also look for a stable government at the centre.
I think most of the people in Bihar want a new face, right? They're fed up of them. They keep changing parties. There's a massive amount of horse trading going on. Everybody know that.
The Lok Sabha constituency of Bhagalpur had been a Congress stronghold for a very long time. But this Congress bastion was breached in 2014 by the Modi juggernaut. Ajay Mandal, who was earlier with the BJP, is now contesting on a JDU ticket and is seeking a re-election this time. Curtains are down and the political campaigning for the second phase of elections are over. The next 24 hours, it is the people of the 5 constituencies of Bihar that will deliberate on who their candidate would go to the parliament. With camera person Jagmohan, this is Dipen Model from Bhagalpur in Bihar for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour, we'll be speaking with our expert guest about the US's move to effectively ban Chinese app TikTok in America and its implications. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken begins a key China visit. He'll meet with business leaders before heading to Beijing for talks with his counterpart on Friday. And Olaf Scholz says Germany cannot accept spying by foreign countries after the arrest of a far-right politician's aide on charges of spying for China. India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Before we go any further, another look at top stories. High voltage campaigning for the second phase of India's parliamentary elections ends Friday to witness polling in 88 seats across 12 states and union territories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, pushes for investing in robust infrastructure for a better tomorrow. And US President Joe Biden signs a bill into law to provide aid to Ukraine, and Israel also gives his assent to another bill to potentially ban Chinese short video app TikTok over security concerns. Now, in a big bipartisan vote, the US Senate overwhelmingly passed $95 billion worth war aid bill to Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. The bill has already sailed through the House of Representatives on Saturday, and now with President Joe Biden's signature, the process of sending aid to Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan will be rolled out immediately.
A sweeping foreign aid package easily passed the US Congress late on Tuesday after months of delay, clearing the way for billions of dollars in fresh war aid to Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. The bill passed the Senate on an overwhelming 79 to 18 vote after the approval of the House of Representatives on Saturday. The four bills were combined into one package in the Senate, which will provide $61 billion for Ukraine, $26 billion for Israel, and $8.12 billion to counter communist China in the Indo-Pacific.
The Senate sends a unified message to the entire world. America will always defend democracy in its hour of need. We tell our allies, we will stand with you. We tell our adversaries, don't mess with us. We tell the world, we will do everything to defend democracy and our way of life. In a resounding bipartisan vote, the relentless work of 6 long months has paid off.
The package includes a potential ban on the Chinese-controlled social media app TikTok, measures for the transfer of seized Russian assets to Ukraine, and new sanctions on Iran. The US President Joe Biden hailed passage of the bill.
I just signed into law the national security package that was passed by the House of Representatives this weekend and by the Senate yesterday. It's going to make America safer, it's going to make the world safer, and it continues America's leadership in the world, and everyone knows it. It gives vital support to America's partners, and so they can defend themselves against threats to their sovereignty and to the lives and freedom of their citizens. And it's an investment in our own security, because when our allies are stronger, and I want to make this point again and again, when our allies are stronger, we are stronger.
Reacting to the vote, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said it reinforces America's role as a beacon of democracy and leader of the free world. The aid package could be the last approved for Ukraine until after elections in November, when the White House, House of Representatives and 1/3 of the Senate are up for grabs. Raghav Kumar Jha's report for DD India.
Now, debating the move for the last 4 years, the US Senate finally passed a bill which will lead to a ban effectively on Chinese social media app TikTok, especially if it's not sold into American hands in the next 9 to 12 months. The bill, passed by a wide majority, got the green light along with 3 other legislations linking with military aid for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. But does that mean TikTok's days of streaming short videos in America are short-lived? Take a look.
TikTok is in trouble in the United States.
After a 4-year-long battle, the US Senate passed a bill 79-18 in favor, which would ban TikTok if its owner, the Chinese tech firm ByteDance, fails to divest the popular short video platform over the next 9 months to a year. The bill emanates from the suspicion that the app is a tool for Chinese government to misuse the data of its 170 million American users, influence them in time of elections, and even spy on them. Commenting about the move, top Republican senator, who's also a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said, "For years, we've allowed the Chinese Communist Party to control one of the most popular apps in America that was dangerously short-sighted. A new law is going to require its Chinese owner to sell the app. This is a good move for America." The bill is likely to be signed into law as soon as it lands in the Oval Office by US President Joe Biden. There's been no immediate reaction from ByteDance or the Chinese government over the US move, but there are clear enough indications that the ban will be fought legally going up to the US Supreme Court. Last week, the tech company had said, "The bill will trample free speech rights of 170 million Americans. It will devastate 7 million businesses. It will also put $24 billion contribution to US economy in jeopardy. TikTok is not an agent of China or any other country. 60% of company is owned by global investment firms." Apart from ByteDance launching a legal battle to fight the ban, civil liberties activists could also jump in the fray. Even some US lawmakers say it will be difficult for ByteDance to divest TikTok into American hands given the 9 months to year time frame, as there could only be a handful of buyers for the platform worth billions of dollars, and due diligence could take a long time. Democratic Senator Ed Markey says, "We should be very clear about the likely outcome of this law. It's really just a TikTok ban. Censorship is not who we are as a people. We should not downplay or deny this trade-off." TikTok was banned in India in 2020, along with dozens of other Chinese apps, soon after a fatal border clash between Indian and Chinese soldiers in Galwan Valley in Ladakh. India cited similar national security concerns as the US nearly 4 years ago. Apart from taking prohibitive actions against other Chinese firms, India has so far banned over 500 Chinese apps. Even India's neighbor Nepal banned TikTok in 2023, citing security concerns. Bureau Report, DD India.
And since we put that package together for you, CEO of TikTok has spoken out about this step taken by the US. Shuzi Chu has said, "Rest assured, we aren't going anywhere," in a video that has come out. And joining us to talk about it is Shubham Bhattacharjee. He's a cyber and IT expert. Good evening to you, Shubham Bhattacharjee. What do you make of what the US has done? It's taken 4 long years. India did it in 2020, and now it's the US which is, well, sort of followed suit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it has been going on for some time in the US about what action they take and when do they take. But the problem always remained. There were fears in very many minds. And as India took a very clear and tough stand right in June 2020, the Americans dragged it on and on. Many other countries have also partially banned TikTok in their countries, but in US there's a lot of popularity of the medium still among the youngsters, but very much of the concerns that arise as tech becomes more and more a part of the strategic and diplomatic posturing sometimes, as well as concerns also, because many of the backdoors, many of the Trojans, many of the surveillance activities are today happening through many of the apps, and there are fears expressed by many countries about TikTok and its parent company ByteDance becoming a kind of an entity for the Chinese authorities to be able to snoop in. So I think there were concerns, there are concerns, and the steps that both the House and the Senate have taken, and as you also mentioned, the president is just going to sign it. So there is some time for TikTok to comply with what the government wants, the House and the Senate wants, but it is unlikely it is going on in that direction because already TikTok has said that they're going to challenge it under the provisions of the First Amendment in US, which gives them free expression and freedom of expression. So it's going to be something that would be very interesting to watch. Nevertheless, the concerns around security just doesn't go away.
Certainly. In terms of how the attempt was previously made in the US, it was Donald Trump who tried it in 2020. He was blocked by courts. And now it seems that ByteDance is saying that we will again wage a battle in the legal firmament and prevail.
Yeah, I think, that is the only recourse left to TikTok, and definitely they are going to invest there because, among the 170 million Americans, in many quarters, TikTok is very, very popular. And by and large, the lobbies that also work for TikTok, they wouldn't allow this to go away as simply as, the House and the Senate wants it. So there would be a kind of an informed debate. But Gautam, the question remains that there isn't a transparency about what, ByteDance is trying to do through the platform. And if regularly, content is put across, but behind information is collected, a certain kind of a surveillance is used. And today with the capability of, generative AI, using all of the available, content from here, a lot of ifs and buts and possibilities do come out. So the concerns have to be somewhere addressed by TikTok. I would feel TikTok has to assure the American senators as well as the congressmen that, these are the transparent steps that they're taking, which they are unwilling to take. And I think, India did a superb job that when in 2020, right after the Galwan clash, when along with many other apps, TikTok was banned, once and for all, this whole debate about, what's going on in TikTok was stopped because you still do not have that transparency. You never had it then, and till date you don't have that. So I think we have saved our people in many ways from, what was going to be a huge amount of data collection, because the number of users in this country are far, far more and growing by the day. And
yes, when TikTok was banned in India, its users in India were 200 million, US is 170 million. It's just that the economies of scale are different in the US, which is why TikTok is saying that it will take it up legally. The other thing that people are saying is the kind of precedent it sets, because if TikTok is banned by the US, in US as a Chinese company, then the same logic could be applied to American companies in other countries. I mean, China doesn't allow YouTube or WhatsApp or others to operate in China, although people can use VPN and still use it.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Gautam, that's also the larger worry, that as tech becomes far much more prominent in day-to-day life in every country and having its impact on the strategic space, so a lot of countries are going to use this as an area for intervention. And by that intervention, a kind of a different dynamics would start, where as the whole idea of internet medium was meant to be free, but there are so much of concerns that nations cannot come to an understanding. And even if they officially come to an understanding, there are so many tricks that are played from behind or say below the bell. So these are the newer nuances that many nations will face, and it comes to a stage where many aspects of tech, well, content around TikTok is one aspect, but if you look at the way the semiconductor story is going, and particularly the US-China conflict in that area, a clear emergence
these are critical
of
technologies.
Technology deniability. So I think these things will be far much more prominent in the near future.
Yes, the battle for tech sphere will intensify even further. It seems the way things are going. Let's see what happens in this particular case. Although for the moment, TikTok, as its CEO has said, is not going anywhere even in the US, because this will all end up in courts and will go to perhaps the highest level, taking months if not years. Thanks a lot for joining us, Shubhamal Bhattacharjee. Now, a day after his aide was arrested on suspicion of spying for China, German member of the European Parliament Maximilian Krah has refused to step down. He said he would sack the staffer who was being accused of passing information about discussions in the EU legislature to Chinese intelligence. Krah, who is a far-right alternative for German party's top candidate in the upcoming European Parliament elections, has said that he wouldn't be campaigning for now. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in China on a 3-day visit. Blinken is in Shanghai, where he will meet business leaders, after which he will visit Beijing on Friday for talks with his counterpart, Foreign Minister Wang Yi. He is also likely to meet President Xi Jinping. China has railed against US assistance to Taiwan and condemned the move as a dangerous provocation. It also strongly opposes efforts to force TikTok's sale. And still to come up on DD India News Hour, the European Parliament has approved a proposed law to ban certain single-use plastic packaging. EU lawmaker releases dove in Parliament and calls for peace, says it's a call for peace in Europe and the world, but stirs up a controversy as well. And hundreds of blossoming cherry trees in Bosnia's Sarajevo celebrate peace nearly 3 decades after its war ended.
Versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, India's Health Secretary Apurva Chandra visited the manufacturing unit of global pharmaceutical company Bilateral Biologicals at Utrecht in the Netherlands on Wednesday. He had an engaging meeting with CEO Jürgen Quick and CEO of Poonawalla Science Park on EU pandemic preparedness partnership. Secretary Apurva Chandra said that it is a matter of pride to visit Indian company which manufactures vaccines in the Netherlands.
It is a matter of pride for us to visit a company, Indian company, which is manufacturing vaccines at Bilthoven, Netherlands. The Serum Institute of India acquired this company about 10 years back and has increased its capacity from 1 crore vaccine a year to now more than 50 crore a year. This company will be the facility to provide vaccines in case another pandemic strikes in future to the European Union. This company is also the capacity to provide oral polio vaccines to India, which will be then subsequently bottled in India by a collaboration between Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech. Till now, the raw material for oral polio vaccine was obtained only from one company based in Indonesia. So it will be a matter of pride for us that Indian company will be supplying oral polio vaccine to India in future.
Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi, who arrived in Sri Lanka on Wednesday, officially inaugurated a $514 million hydropower project. The project will add 290 gigawatt hours to the national grid while supplying water to 6,000 hectares of farmland and drinking water to thousands of families in 3 districts. Earlier, Iran agreed to build the Oya hydropower project in 2010, but funds dried up after the release of $50 million as US sanctions imposed later that year on the Middle East nation made it hard to transfer money, forcing Sri Lanka to fund the rest. The EU Parliament has backed a ban on single-use plastic packaging. The European Parliament on Wednesday approved a law that would ban in the EU from 2030 certain single-use plastic packaging like mini shampoo bottles in hotels and thin plastic bags for groceries. However, the policy still needs final formal approval from EU countries. The move is an attempt to curb the rising tide of packaging waste. A move by a European Union lawmaker to release a dove in the Parliament's debating chamber for peace has now sparked a controversy. Miroslav Radokovsky was a member of European Parliament for the Slovak Patriot released the dove, calling for peace in Europe and the world. Meanwhile, French Greens MEP Caroline Roux argued that the gesture was unacceptable and argued that Miroslav carried a live animal to make a political point in defiance of the Parliament's rules. Hundreds of blossoming Japanese cherry trees line the streets and cemeteries of the Bosnian capital of Sarajevo, celebrating the peace in the Balkan country nearly 3 decades after its war ended. Since 2000, the Japanese non-governmental organization IPIL no Tai has donated 1,750 sakura cherry trees to several Bosnian towns. The project later expanded to bring cherry trees to other cities across Bosnia as a token for peace and to include all communities in the ethnically divided country. In Japan, sakura is a highly appreciated flowering plant seen as a symbol of peace and prosperity. And it's time now to get you all the sporting updates as well. India's cricketing icon Sachin Tendulkar turned 51 on Wednesday. Revered as the god of cricket, Tendulkar retired from the sport 11 years ago, and yet his influence and legacy continues to flourish. Take a look at his legacy from over the years.
Born on 24th April 1973 in Mumbai, India's batting legend Sachin Tendulkar is celebrating his 51st birthday today. The Little Master made his international debut in 1989 against Pakistan at the age of 16. His journey in international cricket started on 15th November 1989 in Karachi and continued for 24 long years. Sachin fulfilled his dream of winning the World Cup in 2011 under the captaincy of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. In his international career spanning more than 2 decades, the god of cricket broke records, set new milestones and scaled unprecedented heights. Sachin Tendulkar became the youngest player to make his debut for Team India in Tests and ODIs. When Sachin joined the Yorkshire cricket team in 1992, he became the first overseas player to represent a country club. The Master Blaster has played the most number of matches in international cricket. He has represented India in 664 matches across all formats. Sachin Tendulkar has registered a record total of 34,357 runs. He holds the record for most runs in one-day internationals, Test and international cricket. The 51-year-old has played the most number of matches in World Cups as well as scored the most runs overall in a multi-nation tournament. He also holds the record for most appearances in both Test and one-day internationals. Sachin Tendulkar was the first batsman ever to score a double century in one-day international. He is also the first and the only batsman in India to score 100 international centuries. India's Little Master is the youngest player to be honoured with India's highest civilian honour, the Bharat Ratna. Sachin Tendulkar was inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame in 2019. Even after 11 years of his retirement, the god of cricket continues to give his 100% and inspire millions. In his recent visit to Kashmir, Sachin Tendulkar enjoyed precious moments in the streets of J&K. The Master Blaster is an inspiration for millions of Indians. Sachin Tendulkar retired from international cricket in 2013, but his legacy stays in the hearts of millions of cricket fans. Sports Desk, DD India.
JP Morgan Chase and Company CEO Jamie Dimon has lauded India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his achievements in the country. Speaking at a webinar organized by the Economic Club of New York, Dimon highlighted Prime Minister Modi's unbelievable job in uplifting India. Praising the reforms by the current government in the recent past, JP Morgan's Dimon noted that India has an unbelievable education system and unbelievable infrastructure.
Modi has done an unbelievable job in India. I mean, literally, and I know, the liberal press here, they beat the hell out of him. He's taken 400 million people out of poverty. When we go lecture Modi about, when they want trade with us, but we lecture literally. I go to these countries soon after a lot of our government officials there. It's like we're fantasizing about, climate and labor and how we think they should be running their country. He has 400 million people without toilets. Really? And we're lecturing them how to do things. They've put in this unbelievable, every citizen by hand or by eyeball or by finger is recognized. They open bank accounts for 700 million people. The transfer payments are going through. They've got an unbelievable education system, unbelievable infrastructure. They're lifting up that whole country because this one man is he's tough. But I think you have to be tough to break that down, and he's breaking down some of the bureaucracy. They have, I think it's 29 states or something like that, but they all had completely different, it's almost like Europe, they have completely different tax systems, which leads to enormous corruption. He's breaking all that stuff down. And so, yeah, there are examples of people who have just turned these things around, and we need a little bit more of that here.
And with that, it's a wrap in this edition of DD India News Hour. For those of you who are on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download the app now. You can also let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for that, you can connect with us on Facebook, X, and even Instagram. You can also check out our website, ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news and updates as the break here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.